Hello and welcome to Rathods IAS Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see very important articles that appeared in our today's newspaper. First of all, we are going to see important topics of the day, and later on we are going to see each and every topic from prelims and as well as mains point of view. And at last, I'll be giving you prelims practice questions also, so that you can understand how questions can be given in this format. Okay. Now let us see the topics of the day. The first topic is 188 dead, 1500 injured in Venezuela earthquakes. The key word here is earthquake. If you see in your geography, especially in your world geography, in this geomorphology, you have earthquakes topic. And many a times UPSC asked question directly from these earthquakes in prelims and as well as in mains. In mains, you have to cover this topic not only from geography, from even disaster management point of view also you have to see about this earthquakes. And this topic is important from both mains and as well as prelims point of view. And next topic is there is one important article related to project NETRA, and you have to know about what is this NETRA, so what is its advantage, so who developed this, and you may get a possible question from this area for sure in 2027 prelims. And next topic is Air Suvidha 2.0 portal launched for Ebola screening. You know that in Africa Ebola outbreak happened, and to control that Ebola, so they came up with one portal called as Air Suvidha 2.0. So here we have to see what is that portal and what is the use of that portal, why government launched that portal, and by using that portal how we are going to control transmission of this Ebola. And this topic is important from GS paper 2 under governance. And next topic is about FCRA rules. We know recently government of India came up with the new rules to tighten foreign donations to these NGOs. So again there is one article in your editorial page related to that and we are going to see that. And next article is India's shipbuilding ambitions can set sail with Korea. This article is talking about cooperation between India and as well as South Korea, how it is going to help our shipbuilding industry. So what are the advantages, why India has to do agreements with South Korea, and in what way we are going to be get benefited, and what are the challenges between India and South Korea related to the shipbuilding industry. So this topic is important from your international relations from GS paper 2. And next topic is revisiting India's ultrasound laws. So you know about normally scanning, that is nothing but ultrasound. So related to this ultrasound, we have some laws in our country which is regulating this ultrasound. So here this article is saying that we have to change already existing laws because we are having more and more applications of ultrasound. So here we have to see what is that law, so what are the challenges of that law, why we need to revisit the new laws. We have to know all those things from governance point of view. Okay, now see this article guys, read out the title. 188 dead, 1500 injured in Venezuela earthquakes. So if you have seen yesterday's news, entirely the news is occupied by this topic, that is severe earthquake in Venezuela. It is not one earthquake, pair of earthquakes, two earthquakes happened at a very high magnitude of more than 7.1. And finally, it led to the collapse of lots of buildings in Venezuela, and many people, they died in this incident. And not only the deaths, even many people got injured badly. Okay, you can see the magnitude, around 188 people died and 1500 people, they were injured. And the magnitude is, initially first earthquake magnitude is 7.2 and second earthquake magnitude is 7.5. Okay, and it is called as a double earthquake. So two earthquakes happened simultaneously, and because of this huge devastation happened in this Venezuela. So what you have to say is Venezuela is in news in recent past. From last 1 year onwards, we are seeing this Venezuela in news. For what reasons Venezuela is in news? Okay, first of all, tell me, where is Venezuela located? South America? Yes. Okay, which country shares boundary with Venezuela? Brazil, Colombia, Guyana. Okay, BCG. You can remember in this way. You know BCG vaccine, no? Bacillus gorin. So as soon as birth of baby happen, first they'll give this BCG vaccine. The mark that you can see on your hand is BCG only. Okay, so in that way you can remember BCG, Brazil, Colombia and Guyana. So these are the three countries which are sharing boundary with this Venezuela. So why this Venezuela is in news? First important reason is if you take any country in the world, this Venezuela is having largest oil reserves. Okay, so first reason is because of this West Asian crisis. Now we are trying to get our oil, crude oil from other countries, and we are also going to get this oil from this Venezuela. Why? Because it is having the largest oil reserves in the world. And next one is the president of Venezuela had been taken away by US. Because of that two important reasons, this Venezuela is in news from the recent past. And if you go to like 3 to 4 years back, again at that time also Venezuela was in news because it has hyperinflation problem. Hyperinflation, the money, the currency of Venezuela lost its power, lost its value. And people used to throw this currency of Venezuela on roads. So because of that thing, Venezuela was in news like last 3 to 4 years back, and from last 1 year onwards because of this oil issue and because of this president of Venezuela who is taken away by this US, because of that Venezuela is in news. So if there is any country which is seen often in news, UPSC has a tendency to ask a prelims based question. How it can ask? Venezuela is seen in news. Venezuela is seen in news. Which of the following countries are sharing border with Venezuela? It may ask about countries sharing border. And second type of question UPSC can give. Till 2022, this was the format of question they asked. Consider the following pairs. On one side, they'll give you country Venezuela, and on another side, they will ask why in news. Second country, why in news? Third country, why in news? So like that also they asked questions earlier. If there is any countries in news, you have to know. For example, if there is any elections, if there is any mass or like genocide, or if there is any conflict, if there is any important event that happened, so you have to know about it. Recently, Nepal in news. Why? Gen Z people, what they did protest. Bangladesh is in news. Why? Because of referendum in Bangladesh, elections in Bangladesh. So like that, if there is any important thing which is going on in any country, that will become important. And in this way, UPSC can give you a question. If you see PYQs, you will come across this kind of questions. Okay, so in these two ways, they may give you prelims based question. And from mains point of view, here the keyword is earthquake. In your geography, you have directly this chapter entirely in your NCERT 11th class of geography. You have this topic of earthquake. And from this earthquake, also from geography point of view, UPSC gave question. Okay, how? I'll tell you. So here, first of all, what you have to remember regarding this topic of earthquake. First, you have to understand what exactly the meaning of earthquake is. Next one is types of earthquakes, causes of earthquakes. And whenever the trembling of earth's surface happens, then what happens? It will release huge amount of energy. And this energy will be released in the form of waves. And these waves are called as seismic waves. And we have different types of the seismic waves. So here you have to see those types. On these types, UPSC asked questions many a times from prelims. And from mains, how it can ask question. Recently, a massive earthquake hit Venezuela. Discuss what are the reasons for the earthquake, or else they may ask you about what is the impact of earthquake, how can we mitigate, how can we take measures to decrease the impact of earthquake. That is from your disaster management. So here if you see this title, it says that around 188 people died and 1500 injured. That means it led to the huge loss of life and even loss of property. Can we call it as disaster? Yes, it is a disaster. So in your subject of GS paper 3, we have disaster management. So as head of district disaster management authority, you need to take some steps to mitigate, or else after once disaster completed or disaster is done, you have to take some steps for rehabilitation, reconstruction. So from that point of view also, UPSC can ask you a mains based question from disaster management. Are you getting my point? So in this way, you have to prepare for both prelims and as well as mains. So here Venezuela is important for prelims, and earthquakes is also important from both mains and as well as prelims. And from earthquake, you have to see from geography point of view and from disaster management point of view. Okay. So all these are the areas that you have to see. Now let us see what is this earthquake. Earthquake is nothing but simply shaking or trembling of earth's surface. So what happens whenever this shaking or trembling of earth's surface happens? It will be releasing energy. That energy is released in the form of waves. Those are called as seismic waves. Okay. And how can we measure or how can we record this earthquake? So we have an equipment called as, an instrument called as seismograph or seismometer. So we can use that instrument and we can record this earthquake. Okay, now let us talk about the important waves. You have to remember that and you have to recall that and you have to make notes on that. Okay, let us see here. This is Earth's surface. So inside the Earth's surface, here the point where this earthquake started. So from this point, what happened? Waves will be moving in this way. Okay, inside the earth, whatever the waves are there, they are called as body waves. Okay, to make you understand easily, so we have earth, right? In this earth, we have different layers of earth. Yes, what are the different layers of earth we have? Upper layer is crust, middle layer is mantle, and inner layer is core. So we have crust, mantle, and core. Normally, let us see here in this crust, inside this is the point where earthquake started. And from here, waves will be moving, right? So here inside the earth's surface, whenever the waves are moving, those are called body waves. And obviously what happened, these waves will be reaching the surface, and from surface, the waves will be moving on the surface of the earth. Those are called as surface waves. So here we have two types of seismic waves. One is body wave and next one is surface wave. And in this body waves, we have two types, P wave and S wave. P means primary wave. So here which instruments we will use to record this earthquake? Seismograph or seismometer. So that equipment, that instrument will be recording this P waves first. They are called as primary waves. And after once they record this P waves, and next they will record this S waves. Okay. So because of this, it is called as primary wave, and next one is secondary wave. And after that, which waves they will record? They will record surface waves, because from the point where this trigger started, it has to reach to this surface of the earth, and from the surface it will be distributing, right? And next this waves will be recorded, and in this surface waves also we have two types, love waves and next one is R or Rayleigh waves. Different. Love waves and Rayleigh waves, these are two different waves. Totally we have four waves, P waves, S waves, love waves and Rayleigh waves. And actually we can see, like, if there is any earthquake happened, we can see a huge destruction, right? So this destruction is caused because of surface waves. So maximum destruction which is seen on the surface. What are the buildings collapse, dams collapse or structures collapse happens because of this surface waves. So because of this collapsing of structures on this earth surface, what happened? The people will be normally inside the homes, inside the offices. Suddenly if this building collapses, what happens? they will be succumbed in this debris. Because of that, loss of life will happen, and because of that, injuries can happen, right? So on this you may get a question. Okay, and especially on which they will focus is majorly on this P waves and S waves. So these P waves can move in all mediums. We have three types of mediums, right? We have liquid, gases and solids. In all these three, this P waves can move. But if you see this S waves, they can move only through solids, not liquid. Okay, so that is a basic thing you have to remember. And now I will introduce one more concept here. In this core, we have inner core and as well as outer core. If you take this is core part, we have outer core and we have inner core. Outer core is made up of liquid and inner core is made up of solid. Yes. So if you see the structure of the earth's surface, you will come across all these things. Don't worry. In your geography class, Sandeep sir will be dealing with them clearly. You will be not getting any doubt. But as of now, remember, in this core, we have outer core and inner core. Outer core is made up of liquid and inner core is made up of solid. So, what is the characteristics of S wave? Will it move in liquid? No. Because of this, S wave will be absent in this outer core. Okay. So, because of this, what happened? S waves will be not seen in this outer core. Okay. So, because of this, we can see there is a shadow region where we cannot see S wave. And one more important concept you have to remember is, in your physics, in your plus 2, I think you might have studied about this reflection and refraction. What is meaning of reflection? If you are throwing a ball against a wall, it will be coming back. That is called as reflection. Then what is refraction? Bending. If anything which passes through one medium to another medium, rarer to denser or denser to rarer, there will be bending happens. Yes? Okay. Now let us apply that same refraction concept here. So we have crust, we have mantle, we have core. Okay, we have inner core and outer core. Inner core, outer core. Okay. So outer core is made up of liquid and inner core is made up of solid. Whenever these waves are moving from one medium, so here we have solid again, here also we have solid to liquid, bending will happen, and here to here again bending will happen. So because of this, we can see the shadow zone for P waves and as well as S waves. Why S wave? It is not passes through liquid, but here it passes through liquid, solid. But what is happening here? Moving from one medium to another medium, denser to rarer is happening. So because of this refraction, bending will happen. So because of this, in this area, we can see shadow zone. But for S wave, entirely we have this area, we cannot see any S wave. So on this, UPSC can give you a question. So overall, you have to remember one thing is, S wave will not passes through liquid, but P wave can passes through all medium. So because of that reason, we can see shadow zone. Shadow zone is nothing but where we cannot see any S wave or any P wave. The shadow wave or shadow zone of S wave is more compared to that of shadow zone of P wave. On this, UPSC asked question many a times in prelims. This is the same statement given in that prelims question. Clear? So these are the some basics you have to know. Okay, I told you where UPSC can ask a question. Mostly it will be asking question on this waves. And surface waves are most destructing waves compared to that of this body waves. Okay, now let us see the types of earthquakes. We have tectonic earthquakes. As you all know that earth crust will contains what? We have plates. We have plates on this earth crust. The plates movement will happen. So because of this movement of plates, what happened? That will leads to this shaking or trembling of the surface of the earth. That will leads to earthquakes. That is the first one. And next one is volcanic earthquake. If there is any volcanic activity, what happens? Obviously, that will leads to the release of lots of pressure, lots of heat. Because of that, it can lead to earthquake. And next one is collapse earthquake. So if there is any collapse happens if we are going for deep mining. In this deep mining, if there is any sudden collapse, obvious that can lead to an earthquake. And next one is explosion. If you have seen one movie, Kajal is heroine, Vivekam. In that movie, they will show about earthquakes. Have you seen that movie? At least you have to see some movies. Ajit and Kajal, AK. His name is AK in that. So here they will be showing one concept. They want to test some nuclear weapons. And to test that weapons, they will drill into the earth and they will try to blast inside the earth. So because of that, earthquake will happen in some other regions. And they are trying to investigate that thing. Okay, so here explosion earthquakes are one example of that. So if you are going for bomb blasting inside the earth's surface, obviously it can trigger this kind of earthquakes. And this one is reservoir induced earthquakes. Reservoir induced earthquake means nothing but if there is any river which is flowing and we are building one dam and we are trying to store huge amount of water. So because of this, what is happening? We are trying to altering the natural flow of water and we are trying to save more and more water, and that weight of that water will be exerted on the earth. So because of that also it can trigger earthquake. So that is called as reservoir induced earthquake. So these are the different types of earthquakes that we can see. Clear? And now let us see what are the causes. First one is plate movements, as I said. And next one is volcanic activity. And next one here is human activities like deep mining, hydraulic fracturing, nuclear explosions, reservoir construction. So all these are the major causes of earthquakes. And what will be the effect of earthquake if there is any earthquake happen? Loss of life, loss of property, large scale of destruction can happen. Yes. And next one here is sometimes the secondary hazards can happen. If there is any earthquake, inside our home we have gas cylinders, we have electric circuit, we have electric connections, everything. It may leads to fire, it may leads to gas leak, it may leads to gas blast also, gas cylinder blast. Sometimes tsunamis, if there is any earthquake happen inside the oceans, that can cause tsunami. I think you might know about 2004 tsunami which hit this Indian coast badly. In that tsunami only, we lost our southernmost tip called as Indra Point. It submerged in the water. Okay, so like that, earthquakes if happens in the water or in the oceans, it can cause tsunamis. Okay, and the next one is dam failure can happen. Landslides, if there is any earthquake happen in this Himalayan region, whatever the land, soil, debris, rocks they'll come down, landslides. And next one is psychological effects will be there on people. Will we be calm if we lose our life, if we lose our loving ones, if you're losing our property, destruction, economic. So like that we have mental trauma after this earthquake. So these are the impacts. So now what you have to think is what kind of measures you can take to reduce. We cannot stop earthquake. Yes, can we stop this? No, majorly natural earthquakes cannot be stopped. But the things we can stop is anthropogenic related causes of earthquake. So what kind of measures we can take to reduce the impact? So you have to think on that lines. And you may get case study also from ethics. In India, how many earthquake zones are there? We have 4 earthquake zones in India. Earlier we used to have 5, but now we have 4 earthquake zones. So if you are posted in severe earthquake vulnerability area, in which area we can see earthquakes most commonly in our country? In Gujarat region. Do you know this Gujarat? Next, in Himalayan region. Okay, if you are posted in that area, for example, you are district collector of Gujarat and your area is prone to this earthquake and frequent earthquakes are happening in that area. And what kind of role you will play to reduce the impact of earthquake on people, and how can you increase awareness to the people related to this earthquake. So like that you may get a question and you have to answer that kind of case studies. Okay, in past UPSC gave case studies on this earthquake also in ethics. Okay, now let us see this case. Look at this image. What can you see? It is looking like aeroplane. Next, what can you see? Is there anything fixed on its top? Okay. So actually it is NETRA airborne early warning and control system. So here you can see one system which had been attached on this aircraft. Okay, that is NETRA airborne early warning and control system. So finally, there are in our today's newspaper there are 3 articles related to this only. But I find this image in the front page, so I took directly the image. But there are 2 or 3 articles other than this image in our today's newspaper about the same topic. So just I want to show you the image. So if I show you the image, you can remember for the long period rather than just content, right? So I'm showing you the image. So this is about NETRA airborne early warning and control system, and we are waiting for the permission. So we are going to now apply for the permission for the clearance of use of this NETRA. So because of this it is in use. So here if you are getting this kind of technology news, for sure UPSC will ask you a question. And you may ask question, how can you say, ma'am? How can you say if the question will be asked or not? So last time there were questions in your 2026 paper related to Bharat forecast system. In the same way, at that time also images and very small articles were there in the news. And UPSC asked question on it. The question goes in this way. Consider the following statements regarding Bharat forecast system, and they gave only 2 statements. One is about aim of that Bharat forecast system, and second statement is developed by. Actually, Bharat forecast system developed by ISRO. In that statement, they changed it like it developed by IIT Delhi. Just they changed that word ISRO with IIT Delhi. And always, whatever you take, the aim and objective of that statement will be for sure right only. You cannot eliminate that statement. So simply the answer is 1 only for that question in 2026. Simple question. So like that you may get a question in regarding to this topic also. Consider the following statements regarding NETRA early warning and control system. Under that they may give 2 or 3 statements and they may ask you about how to select like which are the above statements are correct or incorrect, whatever it may be. In that one statement will be for sure developed by. Are you understanding? So in that way UPSC can frame a question. So regarding that you have to see that. And remember and keep this point in your mind. So always if there is any advanced technology related to science, related to technology, related to environment, that will become very important for UPSC point of view. Okay, they may ask you directly the question in prelims, or you can use that example as data in your answer. Okay, you have to use both the way. You should not prepare separately for prelims or separately for mains. If you are preparing separately for prelims and mains, you won't clear examination. You have to prepare integratedly. That's why every day, whatever the class which is going on, we are giving both yes or no. Prelims is going on side by side. Every day, one mains question from your GS, one from current affairs is going on. If you are preparing like that, then only you can develop your analytical skills. Earlier UPSC used to ask only facts based question in prelims, but now they are asking analysis based questions. If you want to do that, you have to integrate your preparation. Then only you can do this prelims. Don't underestimate prelims. We don't know from which area UPSC will give you question. And one more suggestion is don't give priority for so and so subject. Like polity 20 questions will come. Like economy 25 questions will get. History only 8 will get. That is entirely myth. No one knows how many questions can be given in that subject. Last time everyone prepared economy very well, polity very well. From polity only 6 to 7 questions. But everyone left history. History 21 questions. Science and technology 19 questions. No one expected that. Okay, so keep this in your mind that every subject is equally important. We don't know from which subject UPSC will give how many questions. Okay, you should not get surprised in the examination hall that Yes, from one subject there are more questions, in one subject there are less questions. You have to give equal priority and you have to focus on equally on every subject. Are you understanding? So what can you do here is you can allocate more time on the subject which you are in weak. That's it. And you have to master that subject. But you cannot leave any subject. Okay, don't think that that topper said this faculty said this. Don't keep that in your mind. So you have to give equal priority for every subject. Then only you can clear UPSC. Okay. Now let us see this article. Please make note of the points. The full form of NETRA. NETRA is Network of Electromagnetic Surveillance. Full form of NETRA, please make a note. Online students. NETRA is nothing but Network for Electromagnetic Surveillance. Network for Electromagnetic Surveillance and Tracking of Aerial Objects. And tracking of aerial objects. And tracking of aerial objects. Okay, what does it mean? What can we do with that NETRA? So you know what is the full form of this? Network of Electromagnetic Surveillance and Tracking of Aerial Objects. Where can we use this and how can we use this? Just by reading full form itself, you have to get something. Okay, for example, we have Pakistan, we have China on our borders and they are enemy countries. So we don't know like at which time, at what time, which object can come from Pakistan or China. Okay, they may use drones, they may launch missiles, they may use their fighter jets. So we need to have this kind of advanced system so that we can identify whatever which is entering into our airspace. Okay, so that is this NETRA. Okay, NETRA is an airborne early warning and control system developed by DRDO. For whom? For Indian Air Force. So Indian Air Force will be keeping our airspace safe. So they have to know about the threats are coming or not. Is our airspace free from enemy targets or not? So for that reason, DRDO developed this NETRA. The purpose of this NETRA, it is to detect, track aerial objects. So what it can track? It can track aircrafts, aeroplanes, drones, balloons, and as well as long range missiles. So all these things can be properly detected and tracked by this NETRA. And next one is technology. So they are using advanced radar systems and as well as AI, so that they are trying to provide real-time surveillance to this Indian Air Force. What are the capabilities? It can detect and track objects at an altitude up to 10,000 kilometers. Okay, it can detect up to 10,000 kilometers from the Earth's surface, and if you see the range, it is around 300 kilometers. Okay, see this article guys, read out the title. Air Suvidha 2.0 portal launched for Ebola screening. You know about Ebola, we discussed many a times. So what is Ebola? Is it a bacteria or virus or protozoa? Ebola is virus, Ebola virus. Okay, it had been identified on the banks of which river? River Ebola. Okay, it causes serious contagious disease like COVID-19. Okay, now we are in globalized era. Every country is interconnected. We can move from one country to another country very easily. We have well developed airways. Yes. So actually, if you go back to this COVID-19 time in 2019 and 2020, so how this COVID-19 spread from this China to other countries? Because of this interconnections between the countries only, right? Globalization. We got back our Indians who present in other countries. Especially in which state we find this first COVID-19 cases in India? Kerala. Why? What is the reason? It has huge amount of migrants. So migrants came from different countries back to India and they brought COVID-19 to our country. So the same way, now there is Ebola outbreak in African countries. So because of that only we postponed one of our important meeting related to AI. Yes, in our country because of Ebola outbreak. Can you recall that we discussed in our class? Okay. So now here Ministry of Civil Aviation wants to control this transmission of Ebola, and we want to control this Ebola entry into our country. So the major route now is through airways. It is easy to travel, right? So because of this now Ministry of Aviation came up with one portal. The name of that portal is Air Suvidha 2.0. And actually what we are doing here is whoever wants to fly, whoever wants to come to India, they have to go for self-declaration related to their public health surveillance. And next one is they have to declare that like last 21 days where did they travel, and they have any exposure of this Ebola or not. Do they have any symptoms of Ebola or not? Okay, prior getting this immigration clearance itself, they have to give their data. They have to self-declare in this Air Suvidha 2.0 portal. So where exactly you can use this article, guys? Whenever you are talking about how and which kind of measures we can take to control pandemic, you can use this or not. So recently, our Civil Aviation Ministry came up with Air Suvidha portal for self-declaration related to Ebola virus, right? And this one is if you are writing any case study related to this kind of controlling of pandemics in future, you can also add about this kind of portals. And in your governance, we have one topic called as e-governance, where you have to know about different websites, portals, which can be used for efficient public service delivery. There also you can add this new Air Suvidha 2.0 portal, which came up by Ministry of Civil Aviation. Clear? So in all this way, you can use this. Okay, whenever you are writing any essay related to advancements or developments in our country, good governance, again you can add this portal also as an example. Are you understanding? In this many ways you can use this article. Don't underestimate this kind of examples. They will be very, very important. And if in case if you are writing any state related examinations, they may ask you this kind of question. Recently, Air Suvidha 2.0 is in use. Which of the following ministry came up with that? Or else what are the features of this? What is the reason to control? In options, they will give you Nipah virus, Ebola virus, other virus which are there in use. They may ask. And it is about Ebola outbreak. You have to remember ministry, you have to remember Ebola, and it is self-declaration. We have to declare ourselves. Okay? Before getting what? Immigration clearance, not after immigration clearance, before immigration clearance itself. Are you understanding? So in this way, they may change the statements. Okay, now let us see next topic. See this, guys. Onerous rules. The newly amended FCRA rules point to a renewed attempt to stifle NGOs. What are the new rules that we discussed in our class? So FCRA is about, what is the full form of FCRA? Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. It is about what? Controlling of foreign funds. To whom? To NGOs. Okay, why these new rules came up by the, okay, first of all tell me what are the new rules? 5 categories. Next one is they have to do activities only in their set geographical limits. And next one is they have to publish their books or publications, reports mandatorily in their websites. Next, if they are doing activities in different categories, they have to do register for different categories. Next, that's it, right? Okay, and if they are not following the regulations, they have to pay fine. So what is the amount of time given? Within 1 year, they have to adapt to this new rules. So these are the new rules that we discussed. And this article is talking about the challenges. Okay, now let us see in detail. So who notified these rules? Ministry of Home Affairs notified Foreign Contribution Regulations Amendment Rules of 2026. Okay, so we have act called as FCRA Act of 2010. So what this act is focusing on? It is focusing on acceptance and utilization of foreign contributions. Why? Because we have to prevent foreigners' influence in our country. That is the thing that we discussed. And first, this act enacted in the year 1976, but we are coming up with changes accordingly. Okay, and recently we came up with this rules 2026, and according to this FCRA registration, that NGO, if it is trying to get this foreign funds, they have to for sure register with FCRA. So we have many NGOs which are working in India, but if they want to get this foreign funds, for sure they have to register with this FCRA. Then only they can receive the funds, and that too they need to open bank account in Delhi in SBI itself. And next one here is, who will be monitoring about the funds which they are getting and how they are using everything? We have Ministry of Home Affairs, and the permission will be given for 5 years if you are registered with this FCRA initially, and after end of 5 years they have to go for renewal for this FCRA. So what are the key changes came up? The first one is categorization of NGO activities. We have 5 activities: economic, religious, social, education, right? We discussed that. And this one is mandatory disclosure, like whatever the programs they are doing, their geographical limit, their books, their publication, everything they have to mandate. That means 100% compulsory they have to disclose. And this one is state-wise and category-wise registration they have to do. Right, if they are doing activities in economic and as well as education, they have to register for both. Okay, so what is the significance why these are the amendments came up? To increase transparency and to control the utilization of foreign funds and to minimize this foreign countries' influence in India. And next one here is proper accountability and proper monitoring and to improve traceability of this foreign funds. Okay, and even prohibition of misuse, whatever it may be. So what are the concerns given in this article here is, the first one is they should now go for multiple registrations. If they are doing work in skill development, if they are doing work in education, so they have to do in 2 different categories. So what happens? Obviously fees will be increased. And next one here is, now they are asking for enhancement of reporting requirement. For example, what are the books, what are the reports, what are the funds, everything they have to mandatorily publish in a website. And if they want to have a website and to maintain website, they need to have a team. You know about software engineers, coding, yes, software development, front end, back end. If you are from BTech, you know all these things. So it is like costly. How much salary this software people will be getting? Based on their work, right? So for maintenance, they will be taking experience, everything. So if it is a small NGO, if it has to maintain all these things, means obviously it will be costly, because small NGOs will be getting limited funds. Okay, that is the second one. And this one is, sometimes if you are asking that NGO to work only in the geographical limits, if they want to extend to other areas, what happen? Obviously it will be undermining their capability. And this one is, it will be also having impact on getting foreign funds also because of this increased restrictions. So these are the challenges which are given in this article, guys. Clear? And from this, UPSC can ask you a question on FCRA. Consider the following statements regarding FCRA Act. Another, it can give you statements and they may ask you to identify correct or incorrect. And NGO is there in your syllabus under governance? So you may get a question on that. What are the problems faced by these NGOs, challenges? What is FCRA Act? What are the challenges in this FCRA Act? Like that, UPSC can give you a question, and already UPSC gave a question in this area. And because of this new rules in 2026 mains, you can expect a question. If not in 2026, UPSC can give a question in 2027. Okay, say this article guys. Shipbuilding ambitions can set sail with Korea. India is having ambitious goals related to shipbuilding sector. So you have to know about that. India is having goal related to elimination of TB, elimination of sickle cell recently our president announced, and elimination of Naxalism in our country. In the economy we have ambitious like 5 trillion economy by so and so year, largest economy, Viksit Bharat. In the same way, in shipbuilding also, in maritime sector also, India is having its goal. And this article is saying that if you want to achieve that goals related to maritime sector, obviously we have to do cooperation with this kind of countries. Okay, now let us see that in detail and try to note down the targets of India. Okay, write down. India's targets are Maritime Vision 2030. The first important goal of India is maritime vision, and you can use these keywords in your introduction or in your conclusion of your mains answer. Maritime Vision 2030, that means top 10 globally. We have to become top 10 globally by 2030 in this maritime arena. Okay, that is the first one, Maritime Vision 2030. And next one is Maritime Amrit Kal Vision 2047. Maritime Amrit Kal Vision 2047. 2047 why? 100 years of independence. We got independence in 1947 and 2047 will be the centenary celebrations, right? So we have two important targets related to maritime goals. And if we want to achieve this, we have to cooperate or we have to do partnership with this kind of countries. That is the theme of this article. Okay, now let us see here why India wants to collaborate with South Korea. The first reason it gave in this article is India is ranking around 16th globally with the market share of just 0.06% of market share. But if you go to other countries related to shipbuilding, China, South Korea and Japan, they control 90 to 95% of shipbuilding in the world. But India's market is negligible, 0.06. But only these three countries, China, South Korea and Japan, they are controlling 90 to 95% of global shipbuilding. Okay, and on another side, India is having very strong naval and defense capabilities. And we are maintaining our coastline very good actually. But we are lagging in shipbuilding. So because of this, if we are collaborating with the South Korea, which is one of the country which is globally very good in shipbuilding, obviously we can get technology, obviously we can improve our shipbuilding sector and we can also improve our contribution related to global shipbuilding also. That is the first rationale. And next one is India is having the targets top 10 by 2030 and top 5 by 2040. So that is Mission Amrit Kal is nothing but India should be top 5 in shipbuilding industry by 2047. And if you want to achieve this target, obviously we have to improve our capacity, improve our technology, improve our competitiveness. So already India started working on this shipbuilding industry. So we have some schemes called as Maritime Development Fund, Shipbuilding Development Scheme, Shipbuilding Financial Assistance Policy, and we have Sagar Mala. But the major problem here is we need foreign technology and we need foreign investment. So that is a major problem we have to achieve this target of globally 10th or globally 5th by 2030, 2047 like that. And next one here is why this collaboration works with South Korea. India is having cheap labor. India is having very large coastline and India is having schemes like Make in India scheme, Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme, and India is strategically located in Indian Ocean region. So we have lots of advantages so that we can reach the target. And South Korea, if you are collaborating with South Korea can bring technology, South Korea can bring capital and even large scaling also because it is having scaling experience. So because of this partnership, it can help India to achieve its target. So because of this, we are coming up with partnership with South Korea related to the shipbuilding. Clear? And now what are the advantages we can get with this partnership? Technology we can get, we can improve our GDP, we can create employment opportunities, and we can achieve our target of Maritime Amrit Kal, Maritime India Vision. Clear? So in this way you have to analyze the articles. And now what challenges we have? Is everything on only one side of a coin? No, we have second side also. We will be having challenges also. What are the challenges? First one is there is no proper policy and regulatory body in India related to shipbuilding. So we have to work on it. We need consistency, we need legal predictability and faster implementation of laws, policies. That is the one thing. And next one here is financing. So we have low finances. Already we always have budgetary deficit. Yes, what are the budget will propose is not at all enough for our policy scheme, everything. We don't know what happens in which area disaster can happen. Can we predict it? We are not yogis or we are not that saints to predict what can happen in which area. So because of this, we are having always a problem of finances, low finances in our country, and actually the global share is just 0.06%. So because of this, other countries will not show that much interest in India to invest in the shipbuilding industry. That is also one problem in our country. And next one here is limited skill force. Do we have that much skilled personalities in the shipbuilding? Do we have this foreign technology or advanced technology like other countries is having? That is also one problem. And even we have some problems with supply chain shocks, competition with China. Okay, so all these are the problems we are facing in the shipbuilding industry. Okay, see this article guys, revisiting India's ultrasound laws. What is meaning of ultrasound? Simply we can say it is scanning. What will do in scanning? They'll keep one equipment on body, they will apply gel, they will see image on this computer screen. So which waves they will send? Ultrasound waves. Okay. So you know different types of waves, right? IR, visible rays, X-rays, gamma rays, UV rays, ultrasound waves. Okay. Okay, if you see this article, it is saying that now whenever we say ultrasound or scanning, what will comes into your mind? If I say ultrasound, what will comes into your mind? Pregnancy people. Yes, pregnancy people will often, they have to go for this kind of ultrasound from skipping of periods till their 9th month. Before the day of delivery also, they will go for multiple scans. So what happens if they are going for scanning after 5th month? They can easily predict the gender of the baby. The baby is girl or a boy. They can know. But what happens in India? India is having son meta preference. If they know that they are bearing a girl child, there may be a chances of female feticide. That means killing of baby through abortions. Yes. And recently we discussed one article. What is that article? Child sex ratio is not okay in our country. It is around 933. 1000 boys are there. For 1000 boys, we have 933 girls. I cannot remember the number correctly. Check your notes once. 927 or 933. Okay, check once. Okay, check in your book. I can't recall the number exactly right now. Okay, the problem here is child feticide, abortions. Okay, to control that abortions, we have one act called as PCPNDT. On that day I said I think so. So what is PCPNDT? Pre-Conception Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Act. What this act says that if a pregnant woman coming for ultrasound, the doctor should not reveal the gender, and even the pregnant woman or the relatives who will come with them should not ask what is the gender, and they will clearly write in every scanning center with big boardings that it is a punishable offence. There may be imprisonment, fine, and they will display that clearly. Okay. So here whenever we are talking about this kind of acts, so actually nowadays this ultrasound is not only used by this pregnant woman, but if there is any abnormality in our body, like if there is any liver problem or stomach problem or intestine problem or whatever it may be, we will go for this kind of scan. But here this article is saying that we are having lots of technological shifts, and even we can go for screening for cancer. Okay, we can also go for screening of cancer. But whatever the regulatory frameworks are there, so they are not applicable for other uses of this ultrasound. So whatever this PNDC Act which is saying, it is about only pregnancy, but this ultrasound can be used for other purposes. Even to know about the early stages of cancer also, this ultrasound will be very useful. So here this article is saying that we have to do some amendments to existing PCPNDT Act, and we have to legalize the community-based ultrasound so that it will not impact on sex determination. Okay, related to this ultrasound, we have one act called as PCPNDT Act. So according to this act, it is talking about only pregnancy. But this ultrasound is not only used for pregnancy and detection of the gender of the baby child, but even it can be used for other different diseases. The problem here now is, now we have very small scanning machines also. Do you know? Not only big machines that we see in this diagnostic center, even we have portable machines that can be easily carried by a man, and we can use that. If we are changing some provisions under this PCPNDT Act, we can make this portable scanning machines or ultrasound machines available in these rural areas also. And now we can go for diagnosis of different diseases. That is about this article, guys. That's it, nothing more than that. Here this article is saying that ultrasound is having lots of other applications also, but this PCPNDT Act which is related to this ultrasound talks about only sex determination. So we have to make certain changes, and we have to allow the use of portable ultrasounds in rural areas where we have less healthcare services. Okay, now here you can see the gist here, you can understand. PCPNDT Act was introduced in 1994 to curb prenatal sex determination and the selective abortion of female fetuses because of declining of sex ratio in our country. Because of that, we came up with this PCPNDT. And next important point it said here is, the law has not kept pace in with advancement. So we are not changing this law based on advancements, based on the technology we are developing. And nowadays we have portable. Portable means easily carried. We can take it and we can go it. So portable handheld devices, they are increasing. And now those kind of devices we can use. Even in the patient home also we can use it. For countries such as India, where access to specialist radiologists and diagnostic images remain uneven, that means in rural areas, they don't have proper healthcare facilities. They don't have proper diagnostic facilities. So in that areas, if you're changing this, some rules, some provisions of this PCPNDT Act, we can make them available in this rural healthcare centers, that is primary healthcare centers also, so that we can increase diagnosis of the diseases. And that will be helpful for cancer detection particularly in underserved areas. That is about this article. So here whatever the acts we made in 1990s, 1980s, 2000s, we are not changing according to the present need. And at present, there is increased awareness, increased advancements, more and more new technology. So according to that, we have to change our act and we have to utilize that so and so innovation more. That is about this article, guys. Okay, now let us see the questions. See this. Which of the following can trigger earthquakes? Plate tectonic movements, volcanic activity, reservoir induced seismicity, underground mining explosions. Select the correct answer. What about plate tectonics? Volcanic activity, reservoir induced? and even underground mining. So answer will be all 1, 2, 3 and 4. See this question is consider with reference to FCRA. First one is the act regulates acceptance and utilization of foreign contributions. Second one, it seeks to ensure that foreign funds do not adversely affect India's sovereignty and democratic process. This point I said in last class. And next one is all NGOs in India are automatically eligible to receive foreign contributions. No, not all. Only if they had registered with FCRA and if they satisfy this provisions of this FCRA, then only they can get this foreign funds. So here 3 will be wrong. Answer is 1 and 2 only. Okay, clear? So in this way you have to think, and all is extreme word. That's all guys. By this I'm concluding. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this class, please do hit the like button and please do share this class to your friends. And if you have not yet been subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe guys. And if you want to start your preparation and if you want to take UPSC GS Foundation course, in our academy we are providing both online and offline coaching guys. And you can inquire about the course and you can call us on this number for the more details 8074765513. And if you want to meet me, you can come to our academy, which is located in Ashok Nagar, Hyderabad guys. And I wish you all the best.